actually on time for once. For once in this show, V is on time. And I've watched some Gavin McGinnis with Tim Pool earlier, saying that the whole situation with the United Kingdom and I guess the internet at large is being censored. It's being suppressed. Content creators that are making videos on this topic are getting flatlined. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't noticed it, but usually when content creators say that they're being suppressed, the audience tells them, no, you just became boring or no one cares about this topic. And in which case I assume like, well, maybe it's true. Maybe people just don't care about this topic. Anyway, I got a super chat already. Thank you. Is it the man from Texas? K-Bars Barbecue? Good day to you too, Romanian. Oh, thank you. Hopefully you're going to come to Romania and you too can be a Romanian. It's how it works now. You just need the paperwork and there you go. Right. What should we talk about? There's a lot of interesting happenings. So many to the point where I don't even know where to begin. Apparently, it's kind of unfair to say that the British people are responsible for the internet being fucked right now, because you're getting several such legislations coming from Australia, European Union, Canada, New Zealand. I'm not sure about Asia. Like I think that there may be a couple of nations in Asia, like Philippines, right? They're also passing legislation. All of a sudden, all the politicians, for no reason whatsoever, just decided one day, those damn internet porn sites, they're a problem. And what's interesting is, like, if you get 20 people to tackle a problem, right? Like try this experiment. Get like 20 people and give them a problem. Like, you'll see they're coming up with different solutions, right? Like, you'd expect at least one nation to be, you know what we need to do? We need to take the phones, the mobile phones, and install on their hardware blockers to certain websites. And so, kids should only have access to those smartphones that are for kids, and adults should have access to smartphones for adults. Or maybe another country could come up with a system like, we're going to instruct parents. We're going to educate parents on how to make sure that kids are safe on the internet. Right? But no, that's not what happens. What happens is that literally every single country on earth has decided that the only way forward is to get people to dox themselves. And, people are stunned. It's like, wait, was there like a national emergency? Was there a big problem? Well, apparently it was. Like, do you want children on the internet watching titties? And I gotta say, like, this may be a little bit controversial. I don't know how many people agree. But, like, when you ask, is it bad? I ask, like, compared to what and at what price? And so if the price to make sure that kids never watch titties on the internet is the removal of internet anonymity and the installment of authoritarian government censorship, I would say, you know what, little Billy? If you sneak a peek with a titty, it's not the end of the fucking world. But when you grow up, if you grow up in an authoritarian hellhole, I think that's actually far worse. And usually, like, little Billy is not on the internet anyway, right? Like, we're talking about 16 and 18. Yeah, like a 16-year-old watching a titty on the internet. Yeah, unironically, and I will stand by it. It's less dangerous. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's less dangerous than the government forcing everyone to dox themselves and forcing censorship and authoritarian measures, right? Just saying, that this is my take. I know it's horrible, but it is what it is. Anyway, SRC Maker, UK, Australia, Canada are all post-democracy. Well, it's okay because the United States is trying to pass 3 legislations. I think one is called the Cut Beard Act, one is called the Screen Act, and one is called COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act. So, there we fucking go. Pakistan. Canada just proposed Bill C2, which had encryption backdoors, and the government can ask any company for your private data without a warrant. So back when I was a kid, it was the communists that would do this shit. And after we shot the communist leaders in a very bloody and violent revolution, we decided that we need to have wiretapping laws. Apparently, Americans had it as well, right? So wiretapping laws. It's illegal to listen to someone's private conversations. Now, it doesn't mean like you never can listen to someone's private conversation. It means that you need to get a court order and you need to have like reasonable suspicion that the person is committing a crime. But apparently, no, that's not a reason anymore. It's like the government can listen in, and they can also listen in to foreigners. Like you from the United States, like if the Brits have their way, they should ask Apple to give them access to the cloud, and they too can see your wife's ass on your WhatsApp messenger. And so, yeah, like, it's not just about, like, pornography, but, like, again, they're using the children argument. And they're, especially, like, now with the AI panic. It's like, oh, my goodness, like, what if someone tells the AI to make illegal images of children, right? Like, how do we know? And normally, well, the way you know is, like, well, if you have a reasonable suspicion that someone is doing that, well, then you can get a warrant, and then you can arrest them, right? But no, they're like, no, like, the danger is actually too great. What we need to do is to check your mother's messages. It's like, well, why do you want to check my mother's messages? Well, what if she is using AI photos? It's like, what? Like, by this logic, you should break into everyone's house to see if they don't have meth. Is it the same logic, though, right? Like, what if you have it? If you don't have meth, you have nothing to fear while the police break your door and go into your house and search. I'm telling you, though, like, this whole thing with, like, searching someone's house. Right now, it seems absurd. But mark my fucking words. When you have smart houses, or even worse, probably your children will have this. Like, there's no fucking way that your children would have it. It will start with sex robots. I'm not kidding. Stop laughing. I'm actually serious now. But you will eventually have, like, robots that are like butlers. Okay? Like, these are going to be very popular for people that live alone. But even people that have a child. Or, people that are busy working. So you're going to literally have a robot that walks around the house, cleans, perhaps cooks, whatever you want it to do. Right? Like, just a very simple, basic stuff. Like a robot that takes care of the chores. They already have them in China. They're not really good for consumption yet, but, like, they're getting there. Right? So, like, imagine you have a robot with ChatGPT. It goes around the house. It vacuums. It does your laundry. Right? It's going to be connected to the cloud. Like, it's gotta be, right? Because, like, it's not going to be able to process an entire AI in its brain. It's going to be connected to the cloud. And so, it's going to listen to what you're talking in the house. And I'm willing to bet, if you say nasty shit around the robot, you say the N-word, you make a racist joke, you make some remark, you talk about the fact that the government displeases you, you're going to get flagged. You're going to get your ass flagged. Hopefully, I am wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. Because I'm seeing, like, where all of this is going. So, like, the idea that, well, your house is your privacy and what you do to your home. No, not anymore. You need offline open source? Well, I don't know, like, in the future, yes. Like, maybe 100 years down from the line, when people are getting fed up with the nanny state and safetyism becomes a slur, and people are going to be absolutely disgusted and horrified about this technology, yes. Like, you will eventually have people that will have, like, offline ways of running AI, and the very concept of the cloud is going to be associated with spyware, which, by the way, it kind of is. But until then, no, you're going to have a period, like, you're going to have a significant amount of time where all of this is going to be nasty. It's going to be very nasty. You think that 1984 is a scary book. Well, 1984 wrote about a pseudo-authoritarian government that had access to some technology. But what we're going to see is a system that actually has access to extremely polished technology and methods of surveillance. What would the UK do to the Muslims once they have served their purpose? Nothing. Integrate them. It's like, dude, like, a lot of people pretend that what's happening now is, like, for the first time in human history. Like, especially after the Black Death, there have been many cases where, like, governments or kings or whatever, they took people from foreign places and forced them to integrate. Look at Chinatown, for instance, in the United States, right? Like, the only reason you have the current situation in Britain is because they don't apply the same rule to everyone. If they were to apply force every time there was a public disturbance, you know, like you have Muslims praying in the street when they're not allowed. Because, like, in Britain, they arrest pastors for praying in the streets, right? But, like, if they did that to Muslims and they arrested them, and then, you know, like, the Muslims start revolting, or there's, like, a protest or whatever, and it becomes violent, and yet again, you send the police, and you arrest them, and you deport the ones that don't have the legal right to be there, and you apply the law, eventually, over the course of 5 years, shit goes down. You know, like, everything stops being abnormal. Like, they already have laws, they just don't apply them. Or they apply them selectively, and that's why you have a problem. Check out the movie Subservience with Megan Fox. I think I saw the trailer for it. I should actually look. I think it's really good. I feel bad. Someone wake me up from this terrible nightmare. It is what it is. If this causes more people to go to the deep and dark web, ironically enough, that the laws would cause more harm to children. I will tell you how the laws will cause a lot of harm to children, and I don't necessarily think it's the dark web. That's the big problem. Like, if they want, they can crack down on the dark web as well, right? Like, the same way they're cracking down on VPNs, they can crack down on Tor. Like, seriously, like, if the government, like, legitimately wants to develop resources into stopping something, they're not going to stop it 100%, but they're going to crack down so, like, 70 or 80% of that is stopped. But let's talk about the harm that will do to children. There's already websites where you can fake the driving license of British politicians in order to bypass the facial scans. So, like, I saw websites trending where you can have, like, Keir Starmer's driving license, or, you know, like, other liberal politicians' driving license. I'm not exactly sure on the legislation in the UK. In Romania, it would probably be legal. I will also have to check. In Romania, like, there is a difference between showing your ID to a private company versus showing your ID to a public entity. Right? So, like, showing your ID to a public entity, that's forgery. Showing a fake ID or a fake stuff to a private company, like, let's say, a security guy at the mall asks for your ID, and you show him a coupon or whatever, that's fine. Again, unless they change the legislation, I will have to check. But in Britain, I don't think it is. Like, I think, like, even if you show a fake ID in order to log on the authentication system, you get in trouble. And so what ends up happening is that you will see, if they apply the law, like, actual kids ending up in trouble with the authorities, potentially going to jail because they did forgery. Right? Like, they went to a website, because, like, if you're an actual kid, you don't realize the severity of the issue. You're like, okay, I want to fix my Nvidia drivers. We're going to talk about that. It's not even a joke. Like, a kid will say, you know, a 15-year-old, like, okay, I want to update my Nvidia drivers, but, like, they're asking me to verify my age. This is ridiculous. They're going to go on Reddit. They're going to find out, oh, so there's this website where I can take a British politician's driving license. I'm going to use that. And the moment they do, at best, they get banned from social media forever. Because, like, there's no coming back from that. Like, if you get banned, you get banned, right? At worst, they're going to have the cops knocking at the door. It's like, why did you do this? So, let me show you what I mean by the driver for Nvidia. Because a lot of people, including myself, like, when I saw it, I was like, no fucking way. Like, that is absolutely no fucking way that this is happening. And it turns out that no, actually it is. And Elon Musk also tweeted about that. That's how I actually know that it is happening. Let me just scroll down a little bit until I can find it. I think I'm going to even make a video about it on my main channel today. Man, I tweeted so much shit today that, here we go, right. So this is an underage VTuber. I think, like, they're 17. Again, I really hate, like, the fact that teenagers now are treated like toddlers, right? They did that with, what's her name? Greta Thunberg as well. It's like, oh, she's a child. No, she's not. She's a teenager. She could handle a debate. She just doesn't wanna. Right, no, like, seriously, with Greta Thunberg, like, this was the thing that pissed me off back then. It's like, when she spoke, it was like wisdom is coming from the Messiah. It's like, oh, look, the new generation, they're so wise, they're so smart. Look how educated they are, right? And then when you said, well, why isn't she debating anyone? Why she doesn't go? Because she's a child, V. She is but a child. And it's like, motherfucker, she's 17. Like, at 17, I was doing hyper-complex numbers. I knew ancient history. Because I learned it at fucking high school, right? Like, I knew computer programming. And I knew how to debate. It's like, what do you mean she's just a child? She's going to go to university in 2 years. Like, is she an imbecile and she doesn't know how to debate at 17? Because that's really bad. But I guess, like, this is the Anglo-Saxon mentality. There is no more teenagers, you know, like, adults that have restricted rights. But they also have other rights. For example, the right to debate someone. But anyway, right, one of the rights that they definitely don't have anymore is to tinker with the Nvidia settings. So here you have this VTuber, 17, I think, and they can't update their Nvidia drivers using the app. You're not eligible to use this application. And Elon Musk tweeted about it because I thought that it's fake. I thought that, okay, well, you know, we live in the age of sarcasm, and surely like someone is trying to make a point, but it's not real, right? Turns out it is. It actually turns out Elon Musk tweeted it, and I did the thing when you ask Grok, is it true? I did the thing. Like, of course I did the thing. Like, how else am I supposed to verify it? Am I supposed to actually travel to UK with a fucking computer? And then, like, plug it in with an Nvidia app to see, like, if my age is required? Like, no. I'm going to ask Grok. I did the thing. Stop being embarrassed for doing the thing. It's perfectly reasonable to ask Grok. In certain situations, right? If you ask Grok, is 2 + 2 = 4, then you're a moron. If you ask Grok to think for yourself, sure. But if you ask Grok to verify something, that's fine. Don't listen to Sargon. He's wrong. I'm right. Anyway, right. Why is this a thing? Well, apparently, and this was the answer that I was given, you can use the Nvidia app to run offline AI, and the AI may be used, right? It could be used for pornography, and so they have to ban it. They categorize Nvidia like category 1 site or whatever the fuck, and so this is what you get. You need to dox yourself now. Dox yourself, you fucking bigot, in order to update your graphics drivers. So, again, if you're 17 in Britain, right? If you're an innocent wee lad at the age of 17, maximum gullibility, you don't understand the universe, in that situation, you can drive a car, you can start a business, you can join the military as a child soldier. I do believe they want to give them the right to vote, but you can't tinker with the Nvidia graphics drivers. That's a little bit too dangerous, because you may see a titty. It should be a crime for me to see the opinion of a child 17 or below. See, that is something that I agree with, because I said that. Yes. You go on Twitter, and it's only like teenagers from the West, though. Like, if I meet a teenager from my country, or if I meet a teenager from Poland, I can actually, like I wouldn't even know they're a teenager unless they tell you, right? And, like, you talk with them about politics, you talk about them about economics, and they're fine. But whenever you hear, like, the most dumb shit takes imaginable, like, usually hysteria driven by emotion, everything dialed to 11, nonsensical stuff, stupidity, government worship, and you're like, how the fuck is this person still alive? Like, surely, like, they need to remember to breathe in, breathe out, because otherwise they choke. Like, how? And then you go onto their account, and it's like they're 17 or they're 16. And in that moment, you gotta feel like a human rights violation was inflicted upon you. Like, that, seriously, like, it should be against the human rights. Like, they should add it on the UN Charter that 16-year-olds shouldn't talk with adults. Why would you ever talk politics and economics with a teenager? Because I don't know they're a teenager. Like, you're on Twitter, okay? You don't see their face. You see text. You see, you're discussing with Skullfuck47 or Teabagger Extronomicus Maximer. And okay, I'm talking with Teabagger, and usually, like, Teabagger is the one that talks with me because I'm a content creator, right? Like I talk about politics, and all of a sudden, Teabagger gets into my notifications, and he tags me, and he's like, "Well, no, V, you're wrong." And I'm like, "How am I wrong?" And you know, I get a dumb shit take. And then when I go on Teabagger's profile, I found out that he's 17 or 16. It's like, what do? You block and mute, but like the very fact that we got to that point, you know? And so, wait, you're the first one to like the live stream? That's not true. I got 56 likes. And so, anyway, my point is that when I was 16, the last thing that I wanted to do was to argue with adults about politics. Like, I had other issues. I had other business in mind. But it seems that today, teenagers are obsessed with arguing with adults. And so, yes, like, I would be in favor if it was illegal for them to even have a conversation with a person over the 18. Yeah, I'm only 17, bro. I had that as well. It wasn't with me that the person was engaging. But I remember, like, I posted something that went viral. And then I went to see, like, what people are talking about. And it was, like, a conversation that someone got into a spurg out with another person. And it was, like, again, about politics. And it's like, I'm only 17. And it's like, why the fuck are you talking politics then? Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck off the internet. Fuck is wrong with you? Isn't that when you send the Navy SEAL copy pasta? Oh, they don't make the Navy SEAL copy pasta. We're never going to have another Navy SEAL copy pasta because it's dangerous, right? They're not morons, they're malicious. If they were morons, they would sometimes make a mistake in our favor, yes. I believe teenage, they can see what people are saying, but they can't talk. I think that's for GTA. Yes. Like, if you want to play GTA Online, the new one that's coming out, you gotta dox yourself. Right? And if you dox yourself, then you can actually partake into the chat. Otherwise, I will say this. I am not doxing myself for any video game ever. And I will avoid doxing myself as much as humanly possible. Like, if this legislation comes to Romania, I will not dox myself. Like, I'm an adult. I have a right to be on every website that's for adults. And if it's asked of me to dox myself, I will find ways around it. I will do anything possible, anything humanly imaginable to avoid doxing myself. And I encourage you to do so as well, because the very moment you get a data leak, and you're going to see your personal information being leaked to the public, it's out there, you will never be able to take it back. Like, you need to understand this, okay? If your ID is ever on the dark web, on a list of people's identity, you can never take your ID back. That's it. It's going to be public domain for nasty people. Someone can use your ID to commit a crime. Like, this is very serious shit. I never agreed that I need to dox myself for anything, and so I won't. The only time just so you understand how paranoid I am because of this. I don't even call the banks. Like, I go to the bank in person. And I don't phone the bank. Whenever I need some banking done, I actually travel. I move my ass, and I go all the way to the bank. It's just because I have a wife? What does that have to do with another? It's like, no, it's just because I live on planet Earth. Like, I've seen big companies, major companies, like Sony, constantly having data leaks. Usernames and passwords and all of that shit being leaked onto the dark web. Now, it's one thing when a username and a password gets leaked, right? Like, at worst that happens is you lose your emails, you lose access, you struggle. It's not good. It's really bad. But, like, now imagine that you're doxing yourself and you have, like, your ID, your actual driving license or whatever being... Oh, my goodness. The bank, yes, they think that's weird. What if Steam requires me to dox myself to play your game? You don't dox yourself. Under any circumstance, you find workarounds. Do not dox yourself. At the very worst, show your face. But like even then, you can use a video game character to bypass that. You can use a video game character to bypass the facial recognition shit. Like there's no reason to dox yourself. And by the way, like this is probably how this whole thing will pass. Like there's two ways to make a negative law pass, like assuming that most people generally don't like a law, right? The first one is democratic, like you vote the people that passed the law away. Sometimes you can't do that, right? And so what people do is malicious non-compliance, like not violence, right? Like they're not being violent, they're not, no, but malicious non-compliance, using a video game character to pass that shit. Something that's not illegal, right? Like don't use a fake ID or something. Like don't. That can get you in legal issues. But like using a video game character as your face, that's not illegal. Yet. V was one of the my Romanian doctor girlfriend was moaning about in 2021, buying his vaccine passport and skipping the actual vaccine. Yes, this is why Romania had a very low compliance for vaccines, and I know this. Like initially we had, I think, like 30% vaccination rate, and then the government like cracked down really hard to raise the rate. But what Romanians did is like they vaccinated by the sink. Like literally, you would go to a doctor, give the doctor a bribe, and he would take the vaccine and just drip it in the sink and give you a QR code. And there you fucking go, right? You had like 20 people entering the mall with the same QR code. Like you had the person that was allegedly vaccinated, and he would give his QR code to 10 other people. And the guy at the mall, the security guard, also didn't give a fuck. Like he wouldn't start analyzing. It's like, okay, green, you means you go. But that's like the Eastern European mentality, because like we suffered communism. And obviously like this is not for everything, you know, like if there's a law that makes sense and people agree with it, then yes, people will follow the law, obviously. You know, like driving without a seatbelt. Like no, here like people genuinely believe that you should drive with a seatbelt. And so people follow the law. But if you have like a nonsensical stuff, like I as an adult have to dox myself to change my graphic drivers, like are you fucking insane? I'm going to install a VPN. Going to use Tor. Going to do everything possible. Like even if it's so convenient, even like if my ID is literally on the desk. One has not only a legal but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Become ungovernable. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm telling you what I would do. I'm not telling people what to do. But I'm saying it's actually a thing to consider, right? Like giving, like would you give your ID to a stranger to make a photocopy of it, right? Like some guy on, like imagine this, right? Because this is something that they constantly say. It's just like going to a bar, man. You know, you go to a bar and you show ID. It's just like going to a bar. First of all, that's not an international thing. Okay, like in Romania, if I go to a bar, no one asks for my ID. Because I don't look like I'm 15, okay? So, no, like your way of life doesn't apply to the entire universe. But, alright, fine, let's assume it's like that. Let's assume that it's like going to a bar and you show ID. If you show ID to a bar, they don't take a photocopy of it. They don't store it forever, right? Like, they don't print your ID and keep it. That's the problem. That's the issue that we're talking about. Like you wouldn't allow a bar to do that. Like if you know you go to a bar and they like scan your ID and keep it on an archive forever, you probably wouldn't go to that bar. In fact, I think like no one would go to bars if that was the situation. Anyway, right, let me go and show you the video where Fox News is dunking on the UK.
has created an elite police unit known as...
It's 5 minutes. Holy shit, this one is a lot. All right, let's see what it's about, Chad.
In 1984 called, and he wants its Ministry of Truth back.
Yeah, again, I hate the comparison with 1984 simply because 1984 was a semi-authoritarian government. Like, it wasn't as intrusive as what's being created before our very eyes.
The UK has created an elite police unit known as the National Internet Intelligence Investigations Team, dedicated to monitoring anti-migrant social media posts. Leaders claim its purpose is to detect early signs of potential unrest.
Again, notice the weasel words, right? It's always potential, may cause, could be. It is unrest, right? Like to detect unrest, to detect blah blah blah. It's always potential. probable. Maybe. And the thing that they're looking for is not even illegal. Like, opinions against migration. It's like, well, isn't the nation supposed to be governed by the people? Like, if the people would decide that from tomorrow no more migrants, right? Is it the job of the politicians to manipulate public opinion and to send police to intimidate people? It's like, how dare you think differently?
Unrest like this protest and counter-protest had erupted after a 38-year-old asylum-seeking migrant was charged with sexual assault for attempting to kiss a 14-year-old girl.
Despite the surveillance, UK's Prime Minister insists he still believes in free speech.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time here, so we're very proud about that. We protect it.
Well, with us now to react is Public News founder Michael Schellenberger. Michael, it is true that the United Kingdom and the West has a fairly robust tradition, long-standing when it comes to free speech, but I'm not so sure that's true anymore. I mean,
I don't think they do, actually. I don't think they do, because, like, it's not in their constitution, right? Like, free speech, I'm sorry, but it's an American concept. Britain used to be a monarchy. It wasn't a place, like they mocked the American Constitution. They went against it because, like, America fought the revolution against them. And so they even have a thing in Hyde Park called the Free Speech Corner. Right? That's their free speech. They have a corner in their entire nation. And last time I checked, they also arrested a right-wing activist that was in that fucking corner. That's code for thought crime, pre-crime. Yeah. Like, that's such a good point. Yeah, that's such a good point. Like, things that could cause, it means thought crimes. Right? Like, people are thinking incorrectly. That there's no action being done there. Like, there's no violence or anything. It's like, well, it could lead to. So, in other words, thought policing. By the way, like, do you remember when thought policing used to be like a negative, pejorative word? It's like, oh, the government is thought policing people. Now, that doesn't even exist. Like, I haven't seen that word used in the mainstream media at all.
Story after story about people being thrown behind bars in the UK, even for tweets that they have deleted with...
This is on Fox News, by the way, right? Like, this is not something from Alex Jones or any other place where you would say it's a crackpot conspiracy theory. This is from Fox News.
Longer prison sentences than people who've committed actual physical violent crimes.
Yeah, that's right, Guy. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible story. I mean, there's a woman that's in prison for 31 months, which is 4 months longer than a child rapist is in prison. And what all she did was have a tweet up for 4 hours that she ended up taking down. This is a sweeping crackdown on free speech in Great Britain.
Again, like, tweets, from what I can see, like, if someone were to ask me, like, tweets in Great Britain are treated like child pornography. Like, seriously, like, I'm actually curious, what would the punishment be if someone actually sent vile images online versus if that woman tweeted? Like, what the fuck would she possibly have tweeted? Again, like, imagine your mom tweets something, deletes it, and then she ends up in prison. Like, what is the level of danger to society that you require this amount of crackdown? You know what I think? And I may be wrong, but I think, like, China doesn't go this far. I'm not even kidding. Like, please someone correct me. If you know a Chinese person, like, ask them. Is the punishment in China for one tweet really that fucking bad? Maybe it is. I genuinely don't know. But what I do know is that they don't ask you to dox yourself to change the graphics drivers to your card.
Britain that we have not seen anything like in maybe hundreds of years. I mean, it's really astonishing. It's happening on multiple levels. Keep in mind, they were already arresting 30 people a day for wrong speech in Britain before this. Now they have a special police task force to constantly monitor social media, including X, formerly Twitter, and they can stop content based on age verification, so they can stop content saying, oh, this is harmful to mental health. And then X, recently, just a few days ago, did block content on the basis of the British order to be able to identify if people were old enough to see it. So the other thing you mentioned there was the Islamophobia. They're not going to allow people to criticize mass migration. They're going to call it Islamophobia and a hate crime and prevent it. So this is...
Again, the main problem isn't that they're not allowing this, right? Like, if British people want to live like this, that's fine. You know, British people, like, live however you want. The problem is, like, they're forcing social media platforms that are worldwide, that are used by everyone on planet Earth, and, like, Britain decides, okay, this is your morality now. Julie Agevon, thank you for the 10 euros. I appreciate that. They require you to tie your government ID to your online profile. What, in China? No, I know they do that, but, like, do they need you to dox yourself to change your graphic drivers? And do they give, like, how much did that lady got? Like, 5 years for one tweet? Like, even in socialist Romania, even in communism, you'd get a knock on the door and a warning for one tweet. Like, there is nothing you can write in one tweet that is such a threat to the government that it destabilizes them completely and they have to crack down at that level. My private company terms becomes law. I think, like, the private company terms was always set by the government, because if you saw the Twitter files and the Twitter leaks, right, especially with the Hunter Biden laptop scandal and shit, like, the government was behind a lot of these things. And the government was funding, through USAID and other stuff, like a lot of NGOs, that was pressuring activists and processors in order to force the companies to have, like, the terms of service that they have today. America is passing 2 bills in the same as Britain. It's not just America, dude. You got Canada, you got America, you got Australia, you got France, you got, like, a certain other European countries. You have the Philippines. Like, in total, there's, like, 10 other nations that are passing similar bills at the same fucking time. It's insane. SRC Baker, thank you for the $10. V, I know we go back and forth if I'd be allowed back in the UK. I was half joking. Now I think I'd get deported as soon as I land. Plus, I would never bring my real phone to that prison island. Wasn't there, like, a case? What was it? Brittany Pettibone and, what was the guy's name? Molyneux, right? So, like, they land in Britain, and at the time it was, like, 2018 or some shit. Like, they were content creators, pretty big on YouTube at the time. And as they land in Britain, they get taken by the authorities, and they're put in a room. They're not allowed a lawyer. They're told that they have to give the passwords to their phones. And they didn't comply, so they deported them back. The same shit happened to Callum. Now with Callum, it's actually more chilling, because Callum is a British citizen, right? Like, he's not Canadian. And so, the man is the type of individual that likes to go and visit several places, right? So, like, he went and visited Afghanistan, and he made videos there, put them on the internet. And then he went to Russia and visit places there. And when he came back, he got flagged at the airport for being in Russia. And it's like, okay, right, they took him in a room, and they have, like, this act where it's like they can hit you with a terrorist act, right? They have, like, a similar thing to the Patriot Act in the United States, but, like, in the UK, they don't have a constitution. Like, people don't actually have a Bill of Rights. They have a Magna Carta, but it's different. Anyway, right. So they're basically telling him, like, look, you don't have a right to a lawyer. Like, we're going to interrogate you. You have to answer everything we ask you, and you have to give us the password to your phone. And so, like, you know, he's not a Canadian citizen, so, like, obviously he can't be deported. And he's like, well, yeah, I'm a content creator. This is what I do. I, you know, make all these videos about places that are interesting. And, like, no one wants to go there, because, like, who wants to go to Afghanistan now, right? Like, who wants to go to Russia during the middle of a war? And so, like, I went there and I filmed a couple of things. Like, you can see my YouTube channel. It's publicly available. And they're like, okay. And they confiscated his phone. Right? Because, like, they want to make a digital copy of everything on his phone. So they physically took his phone. And they're like, okay, you can go now. And he's like, well, motherfucker, we're living in a cashless society, almost. Like, all my money and everything I have, like, are on my phone. Like, how do I get back? Well, you need to call a cab. How can I call an Uber without my phone? Right? And like, it's fucking insane. I don't know. It's just like humiliating, I suppose, right? Is the word that I'm looking for. Callum didn't get stopped after being in Russia and Afghanistan. He stopped after being in the United States. I don't think so. I'm pretty convinced I saw his video. He said that he got stopped because he went to Russia. Or maybe, you know, like he went to Russia and then United States. But like, whatever. He got stopped at the airport. Doesn't really matter where he went. Like the idea is how they treated him. Not why they treated him as such. It was the US. Okay, whatever. You know, it's not part of the story. It's not, it's not the relevant part of the story. Whether he has gone to US, Romania, Azerbaijan, the United States, doesn't matter. What matters is that when he went back, that's how they treated him. A humiliation ritual. I'm actually curious, like, what will happen when the elections come in Britain? The thing is, like, a lot of people put their faith on Reform.uk. The problem with European politics is that for an actual change to happen, for any legislation to actually pass, you would need a party like Reform.uk to get 50 plus 1% of the votes. Like, they would need to convince at least half the population. Because, like, the way they do it in Europe is that they will brand the party far right. Okay? So, like, if they brand the AFD far right. And once you're branded far right, it means that any type of tactic, any type of thing is legitimate. Like, they don't care, right? They're like, they're not even human anymore. They're awful people. And if they manage to get elected, like, let's say you get 49% of the vote, right? They form what they call a cordon sanitaire around you. Like, this means that no other party will work with you on any issue whatsoever. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, even if it's a noble cause, even if you want to stop kittens for drowning, like, they don't work with bad people. No platform for bigots, no platform for fascists. That's the mentality. And so if you don't have, like, a majority of the votes, you cannot be in the government. You cannot make anything. Like, no law passes, right? And so, unless you have, like, these the parties making, like, 51% of the vote, it is what it is. And the thing is, like, people want this. I keep trying to explain it, but, like, no one believes me. People genuinely like the status quo. Like, it's difficult to wrap your mind around it, but it's true. They like the system. Gabriel Nartea, thank you for 25. And that is why I will never give up cash and never have my cards on my phone. Then and visit Banana Republic like the UK. Well, yeah, it's, I too, when I went to Britain, like, this is what mind fucked me, right? So the first time I visited Britain, I didn't know how, like, international transactions work, and I was like, well, what if my credit card doesn't get recognized by their ATMs? And what I did is, like, I went to the exchange in my country, and I exchanged for cash, right? And I went to Britain with cash. And to my horror, when I went to visit the London Zoo, they're like, no, we don't take cash. It's like, what do you mean you don't take cash? You're the London Zoo. Like, you belong to the government. Like, you're a public institution. You're the London Zoo. Like, the money that the government issues is not good for the government. And they're like, yeah, they don't take cash. And then you find out they don't take cash for the London Eye. They don't take cash for the London Dungeon. They don't take cash for any museum or places that you go. Almost everything that's run by the public in London, they don't take cash. It's like, does the concept of legal tender exist in this country? You know, like, it's so fucking bizarre. Everything else took cash, by the way. Like, every other place took cash. Again, like, London is a tourist city. Like it expects tourism for all around the world, and you cannot accommodate, like, someone comes with cash and you're no. V, showing the state of the streets and the faces of the criminals should be enough for people to vote right-wing in the UK. I don't know, man. Like, usually, a lot of people vote based on morality, right? Like, they don't view politicians as, like, this guy can solve my problem. They view it, does this guy seem like a moral individual? And morality gets set by the BBC and the Guardian. It's weird because it's probably still a crime to refuse cash. I don't know their legislation. Like, obviously I, as a person who don't live in Britain, don't have time to sue the London Eye for not wanting to take cash from me. But, like, holy shit, like, that's insane, right? So, like, the institution that, sorry, the thing that's operated by the government. Because I would understand if you had, like, a private store, right? Like, a private store, they decide they don't want to take cash. It's still unacceptable, but, like, whatever. Whatever, you know, it can happen. But to have, like, the government issues cash. And, like, what? So, like, cash is good for the people, but not good for the government? Like, how does that make sense? Walking down a road isn't a protest, it's just inconvenience. Now machetes are banned in Australia. Again, like, I imagine that you have an individual that has a desire to kill his fellow man, right? Like, imagine the barbarian, imagine the savage. Like, he wants to kill another person, right? The violent criminal. And he's got a machete. And he has a desire to just, like, use his own arms in order to kill someone. If you took that machete away from him, have you fixed the problem? Like, is the problem fixed? Like, the individual is still there. The desire is still there. Okay, now he doesn't have a machete. And he's going to go, gosh, I guess it is what it is. I feel bad for betting. I don't know, man. Like, if I was in those countries, I would have left. I was actually planning to leave during the pandemic. Like, if the pandemic was 2 years more, I would have left Romania. I can't handle authoritarianism bullshit. I just can't. And a lot of people say, well, aren't you weak for leaving? No, I think you're weak for staying. And my argument is, like, if you're staying, you're paying taxes, right? Like, you're literally paying into the system that you hate. There's no justification for it. I'm not the purist, by the way. Like, it's not like, oh, well, Romania did some authoritarian shit and therefore, like, I need to leave. Like, no, it's a dial, you know? And once it hits 11, and I do think, like, during the pandemic, we were at a 9 or a 10. Yeah, I'm actually deciding, you know what? Like, does it worth it? Like, should I stay? Why? What do I get if I stay? Anyway, yeah, like, if you can't afford it, I understand. It is what it is. But, like, if you have a business and you're paying taxes into the nation, and the nation is becoming, like, authoritarian as fuck, like, there's no reason to stay. Just fucking leave. You know, go to Poland. If everyone left, then the system would collapse. Exactly. But, like, at the end of the day, I don't care what other people are doing. Like, at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, well, I don't like this shit. Why would I stay? Where would you live? There's a lot of places. Like, you can live to the United States. You can go in a red state, in a rural area. Like, it's fine. You know, you don't... Obviously, nowhere is perfect. You know, this is why I'm saying it's not an on-off switch. Like, nowhere it's perfect. Everywhere on Earth, you're going to encounter problems, but at least you don't have to dox yourself in order to change your graphics driver. Let's get fucking real. Do you mind not advertising my country? No. Yeah, I do think, like, the CUF was a test because you get to see, like, all the nations that are legit mental illnesses. And I think on top was Australia and UK. Like, during the pandemic, these were, like, the worst nations to be in.
The action movie kicking the crap out of 50.
Oh, hold on. No, this is something that I was watching myself. I was watching myself. This is what I wanted to show.
This is George Orwell. I mean, George Orwell perfectly predicted this in 1984 when he wrote his book in the mid-40s.
You know, Michael, I was just in Europe at a conference and talking to a number of the people there. I mean, they are married to this idea that you have to monitor the internet, that you shouldn't be able to say...
Yeah, see? Like, there are actual people that, as the lady said, they are married to the idea. Like, they actually believe in this. It's not like the government versus the people. It's the people and the government versus the rest.
certain basic things, including posting memes or things that are counter to what they believe politically in terms of the political party that's in charge. It's not just the UK, it's also the EU. They have this new digital
And Australia and Canada and the United States is passing it.
Services Act, which is complicated trade between the United States and the European Union. And even the deal that the president just got, it's it's an issue that has not been satisfied according to the administration. So I don't see this going in a direction that's going to get better despite the pressure. I mean, the UK and the EU are really dedicated to this idea of putting people in prison for saying the wrong thing or thinking the wrong thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Europe's crackdown is maybe the worst in the world, but I mean, it's happening everywhere, and it's actually, unfortunately, accelerated since Trump was elected. So it's the EU, it's Britain, it's Ireland wants to read your private text messages. Canada, Brazil. The strategy here is to make it so that the social media companies will basically censor this content for everybody. So I think a lot of Americans go, well, I don't really care what happens in some other country, Britain or Europe. They should care because this is a strategy to basically encircle the United States and then have these social media companies pressure that they just censor this content for everybody. It's coming at a time when it's overtly political. The populist parties in Europe, just like Trump and the MAGA Republicans in the United States, are focused on mass migration. So they want to censor that content because it's been so politically powerful for these opposition leaders, including Germany, France, Romania. They're basically trying to prevent the opposition from competing at all, both through censorship and just keeping them off the ballot. I will just say one positive thing is that Trump today, yesterday he called out the Prime Minister in Britain. Today he's imposed serious tariffs on Brazil because of their censorship and because of their lawfare in preventing a presidential frontrunner, the last president, Bolsonaro.
Oh, but I thought it's about the kids, man. I thought about the kids, you know, like keep the kids from seeing a fucking titty. Anyway, all countries that are suspect. I need an avatar with a Guy Fawkes mask. I should get one. Oh shit, I can actually get an artist to draw a Guy Fawkes mask. Anyway, chat. I was about to leave, but then I saw SRC Maker keeping me in place. The United States is not a perfect country, but during the pandemic, if your state were effers, you could just move to another state. I have family, friends, coworkers who did this. I broke all the rules. No one stopped me. Again, the thing with the pandemic, they literally imported the Chinese system. Like, they looked to an authoritarian nation that they would criticize for human rights abuses and then imported their system across the fucking world. Now, obviously, everyone went a little bit mental, but, like, some nations were a lot more extreme than others. Some nations were actually in the interesting case studies. Like, for instance, Israel. Israel was fascinating to me during the pandemic. Why? Well, Israel initially started with no lockdowns. And then people protested, like people coveted government control. Like they demand, please lock us up. Please shut down our businesses. Please put us to wear face masks. And the government was like, all right, fine, Jesus. No other nation on earth did that. It was like fascinating. What do you think about the white-only town building in the USA? Oh my goodness. I think it's interesting because of the two-tier legislation. Like, I saw last year in a documentary, and this was like cheered and celebrated, with some black people building a town. And it's only for black people. And everyone was like, wow, this is progressive, you know, this is right, this is nice. You know, like a black-only town where only black people get to go. There was like that guy, Ghazi Kodo, right? Like the Black Hammers cult and shit. They too wanted to make like a black-only communist shit in the mountains. Like, no one cares, right? No one fucking cares. Oh, some white people do it. National emergency. Oh, put all the cameras. Look what. And then they wonder, it's like, where is this hate coming from? If you're persecuting people for like the smallest slight, it's like, okay, they made a town in the middle of goddamn nowhere. Leave them the fuck alone, right? Like, unless they're displacing someone, unless they're doing something that's an issue, leave them the fuck alone. Now, if you don't want to leave them alone, if your whole idea is like, no, you're not allowed, then crack down on the others as well, right? Like someone that makes like a Chinatown where you only have Asians sitting there, it should be cracked down as well as the black communists that are making their own stuff, right? But like this is like so easy to explain because it's such basic human nature. If you have two brothers under the same roof, you got two kids, and the mother treats one child favorably and another child disfavorably, the kids will hate each other. Right? Like, this is how you actually create hatred. You have like two kids that know they should be treated equally, but you're treating them differently. And you play favorites. Like that's I think like the biggest cause for brothers to hate each other. Anyway, right. Aren't all the Amish white? Yeah, but I think like what they're trying to say there is that the intention, right? So like it's the intent. Like the Amish have a religious intent, and they also grandfathered in. But you do have a point, right? Like the Amish are mostly white. However, I do think, and I may be wrong, but I do think that if you have like a black person that wants to become an Amish, right? He would probably be allowed. Now, the thing is like no one wants to become an Amish, right? Like no one wants to actually give away all of the modern life and all of the things and just live off the land. But I do think, yeah, like if an Asian or a black person or anyone that went there and said, I want to become an Amish, and they were allowed in, I don't think they care about race at all. And so it's not the same, right? Yeah, they don't have a heritage requirement. But like, there's a difference between happening to have a heritage versus having a heritage requirement. Like, happening to have a heritage is like back in the day, like hundreds of years ago when they came in, they were all from Germany, right? And they all agreed to have like this covenant. And so as time moves on and, you know, you have airplanes and ships coming to the U.S. and now you have like people from all across the world coming to the U.S. and you have the welfare and all of that, right? Like America becomes diverse, but like no one wants to be an Amish. Like I personally haven't heard a single person coming up and saying, you know what I want to do? Being an Amish. I have heard people wanting to be Orthodox Jewish, like that exists. But like an Amish, never. The only way that I can see someone wanting to become an Amish is like maybe someone from that area really falls in love with an Amish person, right? So like whether it's a woman that falls in love with an Amish Chad and she's like completely moist and wet over him, or there's like a guy that's like completely seduced and bamboozled by an Amish chick, and so like he changes religion so that they can marry. That is like the only possible way that I can see someone being integrated in their community. People create private towns in the United States all the time. You just have to use money as the buying toll gate. If you have the money, you can move in. Yeah, but like the problem is like there's some white dudes that created the town and they say it's only for white people. And that got the media attention. And they're under scrutiny. You don't see Amish from other races because the Amish life requires working hard for a living and have impulse control. Motherfucker, you wouldn't want to be an Amish. No one, like, come on. Like it's not about that. It's not that it's about working hard and having no impulse. It's about the fact that you're giving away all technology. Right? Like the idea that you can't call your parents from across town. You can't use social media. You can't use the internet. You can't have anything. Like you're going back to farming, which again, like I'm not saying that like it's impossible, but like no one wants to do it. And the people that want to do it, like okay, there are people that want to farm, then just fucking farm. You know, like no one's stopping you. Like go out and you farm, and you also have access to internet and stuff. Like, for instance, my idea, and I actually have implemented this in my household, is that one day a week, we don't have any more electronics. Like, no internet, no computer, or nothing. We just sit and we talk together. We go out, right? Have fun outside. Family time, right? So, like, that is something, one day a week. But, like, I'm not going to live the entire fucking week like that. Anyway, I will end it here because I got more videos to upload on my other channels. Hopefully, I'll see you guys there. Next week, God willing, I will have Madame Savi on my live stream. I'm going to be talking about this a little bit more. And then I'll see if I can get other interesting guests as well. So, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, I entertain you, and I'll see you tomorrow. God damn it, SRC. Stop doing this. I know they were dumb for saying that, V. My doctor offered me to buy into the town he's creating. Has its own police and everything. Yeah. Well, if you don't say the dotted line, you know. But, like, eventually they can figure it out. Eventually they can still find out. Anyway, right. Shit. Every time I want to go, SRC Maker gives me another super chat. I appreciate it. But